What's up, everybody? We're trying something a little bit different. We're doing a video called Vasu Reacts. And of course, YouTube, there's a plethora of inspirational and motivational videos out there. And I like them because I get a lot from them. I learn a lot from them. And a lot of my closest friends will oftentimes share different videos that they like with me. And I love watching these videos with other people that are leaders and people that are trying to get better in their lives and to succeed. And so I wanted to just watch this video and give you my reaction, just give you my gut instinct, my thoughts on some key points that are being hit on, and hopefully share with you just some of my ideas and thoughts on these videos. And so the video today is a Lou Holtz video that Goalcast put out. It's an awesome video. Lou Holtz, of course, was a national champion head football coach for Notre Dame, and so he was a great coach, great track record of success. And so this one's called Trust, Commitment, Love. And so let's check it out. Let's see what this video is all about.
Born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia. And I went by where I was born last night, about 10:30. I was born in a cellar at home, delivered by Dr. McGraw. We had one bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. We had a half bath and a kitchen. 7.5 years we lived in that place. There was no welfare. There was no food stamps. There was no safety net. But I always had plenty to eat. Because every time I asked for seconds, my dad would say, "No, you had plenty." But the reason I was born with a silver spoon, my dad had only gone to the 3rd grade. That's all the education he had. But why was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? Because I was taught by my parents that life's a matter of making choices, wherever you are, good or bad, because of choices you make. Don't blame.
I think, what I love about what he just said, that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth because he was taught by his parents who didn't have great educations, by today's standards. He was taught that, the decisions that you make and the choices that you make will determine where you end up in life. And, I think personal responsibility is so critical for people to have. And, we live in a world nowadays where it's almost like you're not responsible. I mean, things just happen to you. And, we know that that's not true. The reality is that you are wherever you're at in your life because of the decisions that you've made. And so I think having that instilled at such a young age is so critical. One of the things that you see Lou Holtz do is, he talks about his humble beginnings. And I like that because a lot of people who do achieve success didn't always start out successful or didn't start out with the most ideal circumstances, but they were able to overcome obstacles in order to achieve success. And I think that's probably going to be the theme of what he's going to talk about here, which is the choices that you make.
Anybody else, but if you get an education, you're willing to work and overcome problems and difficulties in this great country, you can amount to something. That's why I was born with a silver spoon. I was in this country and I was taught personal responsibility for choices you make. And when we talk about a commitment to excellence, that's a choice you make. What do you want to do? Having hopes and dreams and ambition. See, I think that is absolutely critical. Don't make the mistake I made. I've done a lot of dumb things, but let me tell you the one thing I regret. We went to the University of Notre Dame. We took a program on the bottom. We took it to the very top. And for 9 straight years, we went to a January 1 bowl, the sugar, the cotton, the orange, or the fiesta. Nobody's done it before. Nobody's done it since. We put it on top and we maintained it. That's the thing I regret the most. See, there's a rule in life that said you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's either growing or it's dying. So's grass, so's a marriage, so's a business, so's a person. Doesn't have a thing to do with age. My birthday candles cost more than a cake. But it has everything to do with my trying to get better.
I think what he just touched on here that's critical is that a lot of times in your life, personally, with where you're developing yourself in an organization, in a business, we can get to a place where we think we're doing well. We're competing maybe with the competition and comparing ourselves to the way that they're doing, instead of us being determined to be the very best version of ourselves. And so what he's saying was that it was a critical error that they had achieved a lot of success at Notre Dame, got to a certain level, and then they just tried to maintain that level of success. And then, he goes on and talking about that either you're growing or you're dying. And that's the sign of a dying organization or a dying person, is when they want to get to a maintenance phase where they just want to kind of stay in neutral. The reality is that we have a responsibility. I think Jim Rohn talks about this, of course, the long-time, late motivational speaker and writer. He said that human beings are the only organisms on earth that don't try to grow as much as they can grow. Grass tries to grow as tall as it can grow. But sometimes we place limitations on ourselves, or we get to a comfort zone where we say that's good enough. And that's the surefire sign that you're dying.
Trying to prove we got on top and say, this is pretty good, let's maintain it. Let's not take any risk. We finished second in the country at Notre Dame. Everybody called me an idiot. Guy finishes last in medical school, they call him doctor. That doesn't seem fair. When I left Notre Dame, I never thought I'd coach again. Where'd you go from Notre Dame? According to my mother, you go directly to heaven, you sit by the Pope. You don't coach anymore. And then I went to live in a town where the average age was deceased. And what I found out, I wasn't tired of coaching. You have to have something to hope for, something to dream. And even though you've done great things so far, what's going to happen now? I want to give you a simple plan. Life doesn't have to be complicated. I try to keep life simple. Do you realize there are only 7 colors of the rainbow? Only 7. Look what Michelangelo did with those 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with those 7 notes. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with those 10 numbers. The point I make is it doesn't have to be complicated. See, you need 4 things in your life. If you don't have any of these 4 things in your life, you're going to have a tremendous void. See, everybody needs something to do. Number 2, everybody needs someone to love. Number 3, everybody needs someone to believe in. In my case, is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But the 4th thing you need in your life is you need something to hope for.
The 4 things that he talks about there, I think, are really important to understand about human nature. Having something to do, someone to love, somebody to believe in, and something to hope for. Those 4 things, I think a good business gives people those things, or the opportunity to facilitate those things. So, I have a daughter, I love her. And so part of my work in business is that it helps to fulfill a big part of my purpose, which is to do everything that I can to give her the best life that I can, just as my parents did for me. They really paid it forward in many ways. They instilled that in me. And so, when you're building an organization, it's so important to understand human nature, human beings, what makes somebody tick, what somebody needs to have in their lives. And those 4 things are so critical. And if you remember those 4 things and you try to build an organization that gives people something to do, that allows them to be able to take care of people that they love, in a business, that's important to be able to provide for your family. Somebody to believe in, or especially somebody to believe in them, mentoring, leaders, people that will care about you, to nurture you, to help you to grow, and something to hope for, a better life, a better future, more growth, future opportunities. We have responsibility as leaders to not just maintain, but to continue to grow for our people. Otherwise, I think we stop serving them.
There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. And there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Just do what's right. I think it's right to be honest, right to be on time. See, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy life, have fun. You're going to have problems, you're going to have difficulties. That's part of life. And don't tell people about your problems. Do you know that 90% of the people don't care? And the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off keeping yourself. You're going to have problems. But have fun with.
In the age of social media, you have so many outlets where people can share their thoughts. And a lot of times I'll scroll through my Facebook feed or jump on Twitter or whatever it may be, and it's just complaining. It's constant complaints. And I don't think it's a mark of a mature man or a woman where every time you don't like something, you kind of complain about it. It's really about doing something about it and having, people in business, in the business that I'm in, either you're someone that's bringing problems or someone that's solving problems. And so being a problem solver is so critical, not complaining, not throwing up on people all the time. Look, we all have times where we need to vent. We need to talk about challenges that we have. We maybe need to get guidance. But just to complain is really, unbecoming of somebody that is a mature adult. And so I'm glad that he touched on that point.
That's what you're doing. People say, did you have fun doing ESPN? Not really. Because if you have fun being here, people have fun being around. Doesn't mean I don't do dumb things. And sometimes I wasn't real honest. Do everything to the best of your ability with time allotted. Ladies and gentlemen, not all of us be all-American, not everybody can be first team. Everybody can be the best you're capable of being. And I want to tell you, if you want to fail, you have the right to fail. That's what's great about this country. You do not have the right to cause other people to fail because you don't do everything best of your ability. When you join a spouse, you bring a child in the world, you join a business, you join a team. You have obligation, responsibilities, and you owe it to other people to do the maximum you can at each and everything you do.
I think one of the important things I've learned in my life is that if you rely on somebody else to make you happy, you can be very, very disappointed because it's not anybody else's responsibility to make you happy. I do think people can make you unhappy, and one of the things that he's talking about here that I think is important is that when you make a decision to excel at what you do, and that just means you're doing the very best that you can do, I think you experience a lot of joy because, he mentioned Michelangelo earlier, the great artist. He poured his heart into his art, and he was able to create, beautiful, sculptures and pieces of art and artwork and of course, the Sistine Chapel and all the great things that he did that have been around for centuries, and people go from all around the world to admire them. And so, because he poured his heart into it, he was an artist, and we all have the opportunity to be an artist in our work when we choose to be ourselves, not being a second-rate version of anybody else, and to be the very best that you can be at it. Because whatever your very best is today, if you keep focusing on being your very best, guess what? 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you're going to be even better. Where you're at right now isn't where you stay. But I do think that you can go into a work environment, a business, you can go into a relationship, and you can make somebody unhappy by bringing them down. And so you never want to be that person. You just want to focus on what you've got to do, work really hard at it, and focus on being the best that you can be. And I think you can experience a lot of joy.
It's not complicated. And the last rule, to show people you care. And you walk in the room, your attitude, hey, here I am, look at me. It's like, no. Your attitude, there you are, how can I help you? I wish I knew those 3 rules when I was 21. I've used them for the last 40 years. There's a statue of me at Notre Dame. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land, but if you go look at it, just don't look at 3 words on the pedestal. Trust, commitment, love.
So that's the end of this particular clip of this video. I think it was a longer speech, but what a great way to end it. That when you walk into the room, it's not about, hey, everybody look at me, but it's about what can I do for you? It's about serving other people. We have a responsibility, I think. We've been given certain gifting. It's our job to try to be aware enough to know what our gifting is and to try to do the most good that we can for other people with that gifting. And when you are passionate about serving other people, when you care about other people, when you care about their lives, when you care about changing their lives, you are in alignment with what your purpose is of having been born, of being on this planet, is being able to impact people's lives. And so he ends talking about trust, commitment, and love. And trust, of course, is doing the right thing. Being honest. Taking responsibility for your failures. that's how you build trust with somebody. And they say that, I think it was maybe George Washington that had the quote that, trust is a plant of slow grow. It takes a long time to grow that plant, but it could be just one thing that pulls it out of the ground or destroys it. And so you've got to be so careful about protecting your integrity and your word that when you say something, you mean something. Commitment, your choice to excel in the things that you do. When people want to be around someone that wants to excel, that wants to be excellent at what they do, and does what they say that they're going to do. And the last thing is love, the way that you treat people. There's in the book of Corinthians, there's kind of 15 attributes of what love is or is not. And it's a great, so famous. I mean, we see it at weddings all the time, and I don't know if we think about those all the time. But that's the one that says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not boast. Those characteristics that are listed in those verses in the book of Corinthians are a great test to ask ourselves, do we treat people with love? It doesn't mean that tough love doesn't exist. People that really care about you, when you really care about someone, you have to be willing to have honest conversations with them. But you also have to nurture them, support them, love them, and make sure that they understand that what they did may have been a failure, but they are not a failure, and that you can make better decisions going forward. So I just absolutely love this video. I hope you got as much out of it as I did, and this was a pretty good test to share some of my thoughts. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any ideas of videos that are super inspirational or motivational to you that you would like me to maybe look at and give you my thoughts, share them with us. We may choose it for one of our Vasu Reacts and give you our thoughts on them. As always, please like, comment, share this post with other people, especially if you found it valuable. And I try to live my life with just 3 simple little words, which is that sacrifice creates opportunity. And you've got to make a lot of sacrifices in your life to choose to give up the good right now for what may be great down the road in order to have a lot of opportunity to be able to be everything that you can be. So, Lou Holtz, trust, commitment, and love. 3 great words to live your life by. So have a great day. I can't wait to talk to you guys.